Hi, I'm Gary Stocker, founder of College Viability, back with another tutorial on the College Strategic Compass. It's a product from Perspective Data Science. We're going to cover these two modules today. We're going to look at the revenue module, and we're going to look at the net tuition price benchmarking and comparisons for both. For those of you who are first-time viewers of these tutorials, the data used in the Strategic Compass comes from a college's audited financial statements, its IRS Form 990 submissions, and of course, its IPEDS data. And that's from the National Center for Education Statistics. And the time period for all data is 2016 through 2023, although some 2024 data is now showing up in the system as well. Perspective Data Science uses an AI technology that captures images of the financial statements and the IRS Form 990s and converts those images through an optical character recognition software program. These data points then become the basis for all of the Perspective Data Science products available. Let's take a look at the revenue and net tuition price benchmarking and comparisons in the College Strategic Compass product. So let's continue with looking at the tutorial on these two modules. And we're looking at the revenue benchmarking for this first module. And this is from a demo college that we have set up with actual data that we use for all of these demo. We're looking at four basic components of the revenue. And as before, red means higher than expected average. Let me step you through that. So the fiscal year 2023 actual value, total operating revenue for this college was $42 million. The expected, based on its peer set, was 39.3. The difference is 2.9 million more for our demo college. Now, again, for those of you watching for the first time, our peer schools come from a data set using a K nearest normal program developed. The data comes from a K nearest normal tool used to bring schools into the peer set that are very similar across many different statistical fields that we talked about in Module 1. Let's go back to the revenue comparison. We see the data here. You can look at that. They're up a little bit. I'm sorry, low. Let's go back and look at the revenue benchmarking. We can see that our demo college is low on net tuition and fees. We'll see why here in a minute. We can see they're a little bit high, quite a bit high, on auxiliary revenue, and again, quite a bit high on other operating revenues compared to that statistically determined peer group. I would add that you can also have your own proximate peer group added to your strategic compass product that's developed for you. We can look at this a couple different ways. We can look at this in this graphic, and we can look at it for a series of years, and we can see that as we click through a handful of years, the data doesn't change much. You can actually alter the scale so it actually moves around. So you can see what the actual numbers would be. And you don't see that move much from period to period. We can look at it as a per student value. We can look at it as a raw value, doesn't change much. And we can look at it as a percent of operating revenue. And again, we can adjust that graphic as needed to show what those percentage numbers might be around the entire 360 degrees of the graphic image. We can also go down, and you've seen this before if you've watched some of the other tutorials, and we can look at those same four fields. Leave a top total operating revenue for now. From 2016 through 2023, the 2024 data will populate soon enough. Again, we can see that total operating revenue has been consistently high based on the peer group. The peer group is in blue. Our demo college is in red. We can look at the other factors as well, and we'll see net tuition has dropped. It used to be in the same general area as the peer group, but has dropped precipitously in the last 8 years or so. And we can look at the other factors as well. We can look at room and board, auxiliary enterprises. And again, clearly this college has worked hard to raise their prices. We'll see that in a few minutes when we look at the net price index as well. And then as we have the scattergram, we can turn off the peer schools to see just where our demo school lies. We can turn the peer schools back on and actually roll over our pointer on top of them to see which schools might be outliers, maybe which schools to look at for other reasons, to talk about partnerships, mergers, which are more closer to the mean. There's lots of uses for this kind of data. And then we can also go back up and take a look then at the net price. Again, here's our peer group. The peer group in this case has looked at the different data ranges, the different income ranges available in iPads. And we can see those different ranges here. Let's start with kind of a middle of the pack. Those family incomes, $48,000 to $75,000. We can see that our demo school is high compared to the mean, which is the red line across. It's, there are a couple even higher than that. And again, these are colleges you might want to use this data to investigate, to talk to about what they're doing differently than you are. And we can again look at this. This is the one I like the most, where we can actually compare. This is the one I like the most, where we can actually compare the changes over the course of the years tracked. And we can see from 2010, with rare exception, 2017, our demo college has been aggressively keeping their prices high, whether it's at the 110,000 and above or something much less. They've consistently been higher than the ranges vary. Let's look at that middle range one more time. 48 to 75, clearly higher. Now let me just jump around for a second. I'm going to go to enrollment benchmarking. We'll see this one on a future tutorial. Look what's happened in that same time period. The enrollment has plummeted. Now, part of it is just the demographics. Part of it is fewer colleges, fewer students looking at colleges. But you've got to think part of this demo colleges issue is associated with what we're seeing with net price benchmarking. They just are consistently higher than what we're seeing from their peer groups. And then finally, let's just take a look at the number of students in Title IV funds. Again, we can see that the number has gone down in the 48 to 75 range. And there's all sorts of uses for this data. The number's also gone down for the full-time with family incomes above $110,000. Scattergram, again, we can turn off the peer school to see where our school lies, typically above on price. We know that. And again, click that back on. You can roll over the top of these schools to see what their actual data points are in relationship to the group mean. So how can an individual college use the college financial compass? The data, of course, would not be the data you saw for our demo college. It will be one customized for your college, pulled from your audited financial statements, your Form 990s, and of course, your iPad's data. There are three basic ways to use the data. And there are probably many others that you can discover on your own because you're going to know a lot more about your organization. You can compare your financial, your staffing, admissions data, and much, much more with either a statistically similar peer group or a peer group, approximate peer group that you put together on your own that will happily put in the peer set for you. You can turn them off and on. You can customize the peer groups. There's a lot of functionality I didn't go over today. It's the 8-year trends. You can look at the 8-year trends to learn how others have performed in that same period. And again, others is that statistically determined peer group. And if you want your approximate peer group as well. And you can do these comparisons across 16 different reports, all on your college's operations and of course across its peer groups. It's a lot of data that you can use to alter policies, to alter procedures, to really focus on what you can do to differentiate yourself where you're strong and to find ways to fix areas where you're not as strong as you'd like to be. So for Matt Hendricks at Perspective Data Science, I'm Gary Stocker, founder of College Viability. Thanks for making time to watch this tutorial on the College Strategic Compass on revenue and net pricing. This is one in a series of 7 features and benefit tutorials on the Strategic Compass. Thanks for making time to listen. I'll be back with more tutorials soon. If you'd like to schedule a private demo, reach out to me at Gary at College Viability. That's one word, Gary at collegeviability.com.